Let me tell you a story that's straight out of your worst nightmares. The story of Samuel Little. It's one of those tales that makes you wonder how someone like him could slip through the cracks for so long. Buckle up, because this one's as chilling as it gets. So Samuel Little was born in 1940 in Georgia, and let me just say, this guy didn't have the easiest start in life. He claimed his mother was a sex worker, and he was pretty much left to fend for himself. You can imagine what kind of childhood that sets up, right? By the time he hit his teenage years, Little was already on a first-name basis with trouble. Petty theft, breaking and entering, that sort of thing. But trust me, his crimes would get a lot darker. Little was a drifter, moving from state to state like a shadow. He'd pick up odd jobs here and there, but his real thing was boxing. Yeah, he had some serious skills and even fought in amateur matches. That's how he got his nickname, Big Sam. People said he had a knockout punch, but let me tell you, he wasn't just knocking people out in the ring. Now here's where things get seriously twisted. Samuel Little was a predator, and he had a type. He targeted vulnerable women, mostly sex workers and drug addicts. Women he thought no one would miss. And you know what? For years, he was right. Between the 1970s and the early 2000s, he murdered at least 93 women. 93. Let that sink in. The scary part? He got away with it for decades. Little would strangle his victims, leaving no obvious wounds, so a lot of these deaths were ruled as overdoses or accidents. And because he kept moving from state to state, police departments didn't connect the dots. It's almost like he knew how to game the system. But here's the thing about karma. It's patient. In 2012, Little was finally arrested on a narcotics charge in Kentucky. Just another small-time bust, right? Wrong. His DNA got entered into a national database, and guess what? It matched evidence from 3 cold cases in California. These were murders from the late 80s, and suddenly, Samuel Little wasn't just Big Sam the boxer anymore. He was a prime suspect in a string of brutal murders. The trial in 2014 was intense. Prosecutors laid out the evidence, and Little sat there, calm as ever, denying everything. But the DNA didn't lie. He was convicted for the murders of 3 women and sentenced to life without parole. You'd think that'd be the end of it, right? Oh no, it was just the beginning. While he was in prison, the FBI and Texas Rangers started digging deeper. They realized they were dealing with a potential serial killer, so they sat down with Little and started talking. At first, he didn't say much, but then something shifted. Maybe it was the attention, or maybe he just wanted to brag. Whatever the reason, Little started confessing. And not just to 1 or 2 murders. He confessed to 93. Here's the creepy part. He remembered everything. He drew sketches of his victims, describing what they looked like, where he met them, and how he killed them. His memory was so vivid, it was like he had a mental scrapbook of his crimes. The FBI said his confessions were credible, and they've confirmed over 60 of those murders so far. But what's really haunting is that many of his victims still haven't been identified. Their families might never know what happened to them. Little claimed he was doing them a favor, saying he thought they wanted to die. Can you believe that? It's the kind of twisted logic that makes your skin crawl. Now, let's take a closer look at his victims. These weren't just random people to him. He chose them carefully. Most of them were women of color, often struggling with addiction or homelessness. They were the kind of people society tends to overlook, and that made them easy targets. It's heartbreaking, really, because their lives mattered just as much as anyone else's. But to Little, they were disposable. And the way he talked about his crimes, it's chilling. He described them like they were some sort of twisted art form. He'd say things like, "I knew I had to kill her because she smiled at me the wrong way." Imagine being so detached from humanity that you can rationalize something like that. One of the most disturbing aspects of this case is how long it took for someone to take these murders seriously. A lot of these women were reported missing, but their cases didn't get much attention. Maybe it's because they didn't have families advocating for them, or maybe it's because the system just didn't care. Either way, it's a harsh reminder of how society sometimes fails its most vulnerable members. In the end, Samuel Little died in 2020 at the age of 80, and to this day, he's considered the most prolific serial killer in US history. But here's the thing. His story isn't just about him. It's about the victims, the ones who didn't get justice for so long. It's about the flaws in the system that let a monster like him roam free for decades. So, the next time someone tells you about a harmless drifter, remember Samuel Little. Because sometimes, the real horror stories aren't in the movies. They're right here, in the shadows of real life, and they're waiting to be told.